And we're back. What a difference a month makes. Just a few weeks ago, we were talking about steep fuel price increases, geopolitical tensions, and concerns around supply. Fast forward to today, and the conversation looks very different. Joining me, as always, is our CEO of Gulfstream Energy, Shane Jagels, to help us unpack what's happening in the petroleum market and what it could mean for motorists and businesses. Shane, welcome back.
Thanks, Crystal. Let's get into it.
Right, so let's start with the question everyone wants answered. There are still a few pricing days left in this month, but what are the current expectations for the July fuel price adjustment?
The good news is the price is going down. We saw a price decrease into June, and we are highly likely going to see a significant price increase into July. So if you look at where the over-recoveries were as at yesterday, and you factor in both the daily and the average over-recovery, we would have seen a 3 Rand a litre decrease on petrol. We would have seen about 5 Rand a litre decrease on the diesel front. However, because the fuel subsidy has not entirely fallen away, but now will fall away into July, petrol is likely to go down by about 1 Rand 50 cents a litre, and diesel is likely to go down by about 3 Rand a litre.
Well, that's certainly some good news, but something we were actually going forth about before we started recording. Is it really good news for the everyday consumer?
Well, it may not be immediately, but over time it should be. Remember, when it comes to things like price increases and price decreases, if we are frank, we see a situation where people are quite proactive in terms of adjusting prices when the fuel price goes up.
Exactly.
And when the fuel price goes down, they tend to be a bit more reactive. So I think if we're honest with ourselves, that's probably what we're going to see. But hopefully it will be good news over time.
Yeah, it's a supply chain adjustment throughout the entire supply chain. But at the start of the episode, I also mentioned that it was an interesting month. And one of the reasons for that is that we've been seeing a lot more reliable supply. Chat to me about that for a second.
Yeah, we have been. I mean, the market's opened up a bit. We see a lot of ships coming into the harbors in South Africa. Some people may have overplayed their hand a bit in terms of bringing too much fuel or more fuel than the market requires. But certainly we've seen that the market is much more reliably supplied at this stage.
Right. And of course, there is an actual reason we're having this conversation and how we started off doing this. Let's look towards the Middle East.
Yes. So what we know, or what I understand of what's happening right now, is there's a conditional ceasefire deal that's being negotiated and agreed. Now, as a lead up to that, we've seen the oil prices come down.
Yes.
And part of what's happening now is some oil is flowing through the Strait of Hormuz. So that's opened up a bit, and with the hope that this agreement will be reached, which will create a ceasefire for 60 days. We should see prices go down. I mean, we will see prices go down in July, but we should also see prices go down in August. But there's a caveat, and the caveat is if something goes wrong in terms of the negotiations or the agreement is not reached, then we may see oil prices rise again, which I don't think anybody wants. So the hope is there that we're now on the right track in terms of reaching a lasting peace agreement, not just a ceasefire. And if that's in place, or that comes to fruition, we should see a situation where fuel prices will continue to go down as we head towards the end of the year.
Which is wonderful. And I just love sometimes that you just answer all the questions that I want to ask. So,
Oops.
No, this is why you are here, and this is why we ask you these questions, which I love. I think we were saying that, well, when we checked before we started, the oil prices were sitting at the mid to high 70s, which, if correct me if I'm wrong, is a more stable general oil price that we know about in life. Whereas at the beginning of this whole debacle, we were close to $100, $110.
100%. I mean, we've seen the oil price go down 20-30% over the last few weeks. So that has been significant. And of course, that the outcome of that is that we are going to see lower fuel prices in South Africa, provided the rand remains stable. And provided the government doesn't adjust other factors that forms part of the fuel price build-up.
Yes, because for some reason we have got a very short-term memory that there are many elements that make up our fuel price. At least the information we have is encouraging, because what we are saying, if everything holds true to good news in the Middle East, July and August is looking good, and we'll take the encouragement where we can get it, to be frank.
Correct.
So that's basically, I think, all that we need to cover on this episode, unless you have any other burning questions on your mind. I think the next episode, we're going to tackle some questions that we're seeing online and bring our listeners along on this journey of understanding what really drives fuel prices.
Looking forward to that.
I'll see you later, Shane.
Thanks, Crystal.
Cool.